We play for our schools, teammates, fans, families, and alums.
Lowney walks in, fires,
he scores!
We play for our jerseys. We play for our league.
In and across the line, kicks it to his forehand, swings it back over, scores!
We play with passion and pride.
65 minutes, we stay together.
We are yesterday's heroes. We are today's champions. We are tomorrow's legends.
WCHA champions!
We are the WCHA. Tradition starts here.
Coming up on Inside the WCHA, Northern Michigan's Dominik Shine joins us to comment on the Wildcats' big weekend. Plus, Sean Shapiro from USCHO.com gives us his take on all the goings-ons around the league. Plus, highlights and stats from all 5 of last weekend's WCHA series and a preview of the games that are coming up. To start things off, here's a look at the headlines from around the league. 9 points separate the 3rd through 7th place teams. Lake State was able to jump up to 5th after their sweep last weekend. The WCHA leads the national ranks in a few categories. First, it's the only conference that boasts more than one skater with multiple hat tricks this season. Bowling Green's Mitch McLean and Northern Michigan's Dominik Shine each have a pair. And Michigan Tech's Angus Redmond and Bemidji State's Michael Bitzer are ranked number 1 and 2 in goals against average. Thanks to their continuous strong performances, the Beavers and Huskies rank 1st and 5th respectively in the NCAA for scoring defense. Hello everybody and welcome to this edition of Inside the WCHA. I'm your host Ryan Kassenschmidt, joined as always by Andrew Jelkin. Andrew, it was a full slate of games last weekend, so without further ado, let's jump right into the highlights.
Michigan Tech's Tyler Heinonen starts the scoring for the Huskies with a power play tally late in the first period. Tech would take a 2-0 lead when Chris Jerry pounced on a rebound. Jake Lucchini did an excellent job creating the open space opportunity and picks up an assist on the play. The Mavericks' Brad McClure cut the lead in half when he and Mark Michaelis capitalized on a 2-on-1 opportunity. Captain C.J. Franklin brought the Mavericks and Huskies even with a beautiful tip in front of Agnes Redmond. Assist goes to Daniel Brickley on the rifled shot from the point. Zeb Knutson managed to create some separation and beat Redmond on the blocker side to give the Mavericks a 3-2 lead early in the 3rd period. And I swear we aren't showing the same footage twice here as Knutson again beats Redmond blocker side 2 minutes later to add to the lead. Jake Lucchini would bring the Huskies back within 1, and then Tyler Heinonen adds his 2nd tally of the game on the power play. That 4-goal tie would last all the way through both overtimes, and after 3 scoreless shootout rounds, Parker Toomey gave the Mavericks the shootout victory and a much-needed extra point. The scoring didn't come until the 2nd period in Saturday's contest. Tech's Alex Gillies got things going on the power play after burying a beautiful feed from Gavin Gold. 3 minutes later, Mitch Reinke found some space on the point and rifled home an absolute snipe to give the Huskies a 2-0 lead. On to the 3rd period where Alex Gillies adds his 2nd of the game by beating Maverick goaltender Aaron Nelson on the glove side. Chris Jerry added some insurance with an empty net goal, and Agnes Redmond would stand strong in net. The Huskies would come away with the 4-0 victory and 5 out of 6 points on the weekend. Here's Tech's coach Mel Pearson commenting after the big win.
They won so many face-offs early that they had possession of the puck, and they were just dumping it in and really doing a good job on the forecheck. We just could not get anything going that 10 minutes, or the first 10 minutes. But from that point on, you know, we weathered the storm, and then we got better. And I liked our team, you know, as the game went on. A lot of good things, a lot of good efforts. When you go down the bench, and he had a good game, and he had a good game, and he had a strong game, but you know, we still have to tweak some things. But overall, I thought it was a strong performance against a very, very good team. And guys like Gavin Gould picking up points, Chris Gary, you know, some of the freshmen are really starting to contribute now. And Alex Gillies comes in and does a nice job. So it's nice to see. This is how we envision this team, is having some depth, having all 4 lines that can score, and not afraid of you know, some of the matchups that we have to throw out, especially on the road. We're going on the road for 4 tough games now, and we don't get last change. So you have to feel confident in any line you put out on the ice against our top players, and I think we're getting to that point.
Got on the board first against Bemidji State on a backdoor feed from Corey Mackin to Gerald Mayhew. Jason Tackett added a backdoor goal of his own later on in the first, giving the Bulldogs a 2-0 lead. But Bemidji State would answer back on the power play. Charlie O'Connor tips home the shot after a little tic-tac-toe action from Zach Whitecloud and Leo Fitzgerald. Chad McDonald rifles a shot of his own off of the faceoff. Bulldogs take a 3-1 lead on that power play tally. The Beavers come down and answer again. Jerry Fitzgerald this time taking a beautiful feed and beating Kapellmaster on the glove side. That's as close as the Beavers would get. Ferris adds to their lead in the third when Corey Mackin turns a turnover into a 2-goal lead. Bulldogs added an empty netter and get the 5-2 win. Saturday was a bit of a different story as the Beavers struck early with a goal that bounced all over the place. Miles Fitzgerald gets the credit for the tally. Chad McDonald adds to his good weekend on yet another backdoor feed, bringing the Bulldogs even. Jared Van Warmer and Jason Tackett pick up the assists. The Beavers get another crazy bouncing puck to find the back of the net, giving them the lead. Kyle Bauman knocked it out of the air. He gives BSU the lead 2-1. Philip Marinaccio managed to sneak by the Bulldog defense and put home the breakaway attempt. Kyle Bauman and Charlie O'Connor pick up the assists on that one. The Beavers keep things rolling as Jerry Fitzgerald streaks down the left side of the ice and beats Darren Smith over the glove. Beavers now have the 4-1 lead going into the third. And to finish things off, Bemidji puts on a passing clinic. Very pretty tic-tac-toe passing from Jerry Fitzgerald, and Leo Fitzgerald sets up the Baudry with the open net and a 5-1 Beaver victory.
Over now to Bowling Green, where the Falcons host the Alaska Nanooks. Alaska got out to the first period lead when John Mullally took a beautiful feed and made no mistake on the opportunity. Tyler Klein doubled the lead on the power play when he and Chad Staley both found themselves with some open space in front of the netminder Chris Nell. Boom boom, 2-0 Nanooks. In the second period, Bowling Green cuts the deficit in half off the stick of who else but Mitch McLean. The junior posted up in front of Davis Jones on the power play and made a beautiful tip off the shot from the point. Alaska would answer back later in the third courtesy of Marcus Bassara. A little bit of a strange play as the puck bounced off the boards behind Nell and then managed to slip by him right onto the stick of the charging Bassara. The Falcons had managed to capitalize in the third period off the stick of John Schilling, but Davis Jones and the Nanooks held strong, taking the 3-2 victory. In Saturday's contest, the Nanooks again jumped out to a lead. This time it was an odd man rush and senior forward Josh Erickson who got things going for the Nanooks. That lead would hold all the way until the third period when the Falcons would tie things up on the power play. Kevin Dufour wound up with the puck on his stick at the top of the circle and managed to sneak the puck onto a very small opening over Jones' shoulder. The 1-1 tie lasted into overtime when Brett DeAndrea took advantage of a Nanook turnover and gave the Falcons the 2-1 win.
The Lakers of Lake Superior State got out to a first period lead against Alabama Huntsville when Gus Corelli tipped home a beautiful feed from Diego Cuglietta. In the second period, LSSU added to their lead courtesy of Mitch Holtz banging in from the side of the net. Chris Bindelis and Max Humitz pick up the assists on that one. A minute later, JT Henke took a feed out front and made no mistake giving the Lakers a 3-0 lead. Alabama Huntsville finally got on the board halfway through the second when Gordon DeFiel bumped into his own teammate, and some slick passing from the Chargers allowed for a wide open net. Kurt Goslin brought the Chargers within one when he slipped by the Laker defender and beat DeFiel on the glove side. The Lakers extend the lead back to 2 courtesy of JT Henke's second goal of the game, capping a 5-goal second period. In the third period, Alabama Huntsville's Brent Fletcher knocked a puck out of the air to himself and would then go around Gordon DeFiel and capped off an incredible scoring play. Things really got interesting for the Chargers when they tied it up 4-4 halfway through the third period. Josh Kessner was one tip in from the shot on point. And then the Lakers managed to close things out when Mitch Holtz walked all the way around the Huntsville and fired a beautiful shot that just barely managed to sneak under the crossbar. Lake Superior State with a 5-4 win. It was the Lakers who came out firing in Saturday's game. Colin Sackelman put away a rebound off the odd man rush, Luke Morgan picking up his 3rd assist of the weekend. In the second period, Huntsville would tie things up at 1 thanks to Brandon Salerno's shot from the right front. After that, it would be all Lakers. Gage Terrell put them back out front with a backdoor feed. James Roll kept the Lakers on a roll. And Max Humitz capped things off with the power play tip. Gordon DeFiel finishes with an impressive 34 saves, and the Lakers take the series sweep over the Chargers.
Last but certainly not least, Northern Michigan hosted the Seawolves from Alaska Anchorage. Big weekend for both teams. The Wildcats would be the ones to strike first thanks to Robbie Payne's 6th goal of the year. Philip Bolio made it 2-0 with a blistering shot from the point. Dominik Shine kept his hot streak going off the odd man rush, making it 3-0 for the Wildcats at the end of 1. In the second, the Seawolves got on the board with a beautiful rising wrist shot that beat Ate Tolvanen over the glove. Jeremiah Lutke picking up on that one. Dominik Shine once again struck for the Wildcats after that on the power play. His 2nd goal of the game brought the lead back to 3. How about this? Connor Franti, the sophomore defenseman, weaves through Seawolf defenders and slips it past Rasmus Rehola for his 1st goal of the season. And then the scoring is capped off by none other than Dominik Shine. The senior picks up his 2nd hat trick on the season and powers the Wildcats to a 6-1 victory. Jared Hansen puts the Wildcats up first again on Saturday night. A rebound off an odd man rush ended up on the stick of the forward, and he makes no mistake. Later on in the first period, the Wildcats on the power play, and Shane Sooth takes a feed between the circles and beats Olivier Mantha on the glove side. Similar script, different period, another odd man rush for the Wildcats, and Robbie Payne says, "Don't worry guys, I got this." Walks all the way around the Seawolf defenders and buries the shot, giving the Wildcats a 3-0 lead. And then in the third, Northern Michigan caps things off. Troy Loggins gets a great pass out front and lays down the dagger. The Wildcats, with another impressive win, move within 4 points of a playoff spot. We're now joined by WCHA Player of the Week, Dominik Shine. Dominik, last weekend you guys got the sweep of Alaska Anchorage and you had a hat trick in that series. What can you say about the way your team played last weekend?
I was really proud of everyone. You know, we've had a tough season. You know, we were down in last place for a bit, and you know, I don't think it was ever a matter of our work effort. I think it was just a matter of putting a game together, and I was really excited that we had a good weekend. Going 3-0-1-1 in your last 5 games, what's been different for your team during this stretch of games? You know, like I said, just putting games together. You know, we didn't take any shifts off throughout, I would say, those last 5 games, and you know, we've just been consistent. So I hope that we can keep it going.
Over the last games, your offense has really stepped up, scoring 16 goals in those last 3 wins. With 2 hat tricks yourself, what have you been doing personally to be able to have some success on the attack?
I've really just been focusing on hitting the net. It's a big problem. I had a big problem with it my first couple of years, blowing shots high and stuff like that. So I've really just been focusing on hitting the net and, trying to make the most of my opportunities.
Defensively, the Wildcats have held your opponents to 3 goals in the past 4 games. What have you guys been focusing on in the defensive zone to help clean things up there a little bit?
We've always been a defensive team, since I've been here. This year we kind of slacked a little bit in the beginning, but I think it's because we missed some of our leadership from guys like Sooth, and obviously we added a couple more freshmen and things like that, but we missed that leadership from Sooth. So, I think we've really just been focusing on our D zone and clogging up that middle, and it's been tough for guys to score.
Coming up on this weekend, you're just outside of a playoff spot with 4 series remaining. As you go week to week now, what's the mentality in the locker room as you approach each of these series?
We're just taking it game by game. Like I said, we were in last place, so guys were pretty down, and we really just need to focus on each game at a time. Take it shift by shift, and try to get every win we can, because obviously we need every point we can right now.
All right, thanks for joining us today, Dominik.
All right, thanks for having me.
Taking a look now at the WCHA standings, you can see there Bemidji State on top of the WCHA standings with 52 points and Michigan Tech 43 points. Bowling Green in 3rd place with 35, Minnesota State 34, and they take on Lake Superior State just below them at 28. Alaska, Ferris State, and Alabama Huntsville round off the current playoff field with Alaska Anchorage and Northern Michigan just trailing behind. Andrew, now that we've looked at some of the highlights, I want to know, what are some of your thoughts on last weekend's play?
I think Lake State's been a team that's kind of been creeping up in the standings, and now with that big series this weekend against Minnesota State, after getting that sweep last weekend, they put themselves in a chance where they could be fighting for some home ice playoff time coming late in the season.
And with that, we're going to take a short break. Coming up after the break, we're going to look at the Players of the Week and also talk to Sean Shapiro, USCHO.com columnist. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Inside the WCHA is brought to you by BLC Studios, a division of Bethany Lutheran College. For more information, visit blc.edu.
College hockey fans, you can now watch every game, every night from your own home. From Anchorage to Alabama, Big Rapids to Bowling Green, and all points in between. All your favorite teams live on WCHA TV. Affordable season, monthly, and game day passes are available. Sign up today and don't miss a thing. Join us at WCHA.TV.
Welcome back to Inside the WCHA. Now we'll take a look at the Players of the Week, starting with Mr. Shine himself. The Pinckney, Michigan native picked up his 2nd hat trick on the season and added an assist in Saturday night's tilt. Shine currently sits tied for the NCAA lead with 7 goals in the month of January. On the defensive side of things, the Defensive Player of the Week also comes from Northern Michigan. Ate Tolvanen had himself an impressive weekend, only giving up 1 goal and making 59 saves. Tolvanen earned his 2nd career shutout in Saturday's game, making 34 saves in that effort alone. And this week's Rookie of the Week is Lake Superior forward Luke Morgan. The freshman from Brighton, Michigan picked up 2 assists in both games, including the primary helper on Saturday's game-winning goal. Morgan tied for tops among all WCHA skaters with his 4 assists and tied for 2nd in points.
Columnist for USCHO.com. Great to have you on today, Sean.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now, atop of the WCHA standings, Bemidji State and Michigan Tech have been pretty settled at 1 and 2 for much of the season, but the rest of the standings have been pretty much in flux, with LSSU going from 8th to 5th in just 1 weekend. Where do you think the rest of the standings are going to finish up as we come down the stretch here?
Oh, it's hard to put an exact, because it's fluctuated so much. As you said there, we've got the kind of the class of the league right now with Bemidji and Michigan Tech at the top, and then there's kind of a big gap jump from 2 to everywhere else. The when I look at it, I think it's kind of what makes it, it's going to make it really exciting over the rest of the season. I think it was 2 weekends ago, we had 7 of the 8 games go to overtime. This past weekend, another bunch of close games. I think it's going to create quite the intrigue and interest in some close games for the rest of the season. Now, how I think things kind of end up at the end of the season, it's hard to kind of place in my mind who's going to be in those particular spots between who's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8. I think right now I have a gut feeling that Bowling Green and Minnesota State are still going to kind of stick around 3 and 4 and host first-round series. And then, as you said, it's kind of a bit of a toss-up. Who's going to be where the team's going to end up between 5 and 8. So I know I'm dodging the question slightly because I don't want to say, I'm not sure if I feel confident enough to say one team's going to be 6 or one team's going to be 5, but I feel pretty confident that your first-round series are going to be hosted by Bemidji, Michigan Tech, Bowling Green, and Minnesota State.
You mentioned the playoff series that are coming up. The WCHA tournament is fast approaching. Now, Bowling Green and Bemidji State are obviously some of the favorites, but do you see one of them two as the favorite? And also, do you see somebody else making noise other than them two?
I think Bemidji State's still the favorite. I think they have the best goalie in the league, and they play that defensive playoff style that has helped them in the regular season as well. But I think can really shut down and eliminate other teams' offensive chances in a playoff series. So if I'm looking at a favorite, it still has to be Bemidji. I just think between what they do and how they limit chances, it's hard to see anyone beating them because of once they get a lead, it's so hard to come back against them. And they do a good job of getting that first goal and getting that lead and then playing with it and sucking any chances away from the other team.
Yeah, the Bemidji State, as you said, the favorite, but also do you see any teams potentially making noise that are maybe underseeded or maybe in the lower half of the standings?
I think you look at a team like Lake Superior State just because I don't know if they can consistently be to do enough throughout the entire tournament to make it through the end, but I think they have that capability to score 5 goals one game. They have that offensive capability where they could surprise some teams. They have that offense where you could come out and you could see a stretch of 3 goals in a first period and they get a lead and they could make a run like that. So you look at the Lakers and I look at Lake Superior State and I think they're a team that has that potential if they can put together 3 consistent periods, put together and kind of string a couple games together like that in the tournament. It's definitely possible.
The WCHA has seen some breakout players this far this year and some really good performances. Are there any outstanding players that have stood out to you so far this year?
I really enjoy the goaltending in the league. It's one of those where you have I mentioned Bemidji State and I mentioned Michael Bitzer, and I think he's had a phenomenal year with we expected him to have a phenomenal year. I think he's got a 1.58, maybe around 1.6 goals against average right now. Michigan Tech, I really enjoy what you've seen out of freshman Angus Redmond, who coming into the year, we didn't really expect that out of him at all. And he's been I believe he's leading the league in goals against average at this moment. And he's just he's really stepped up and turned them into a contender, and really the only team that could potentially catch Bemidji right now on top of the standings. Big fan of the goaltending in the league right now, and that comes from being a little bit of a goalie nerd myself and enjoying watching that position. But the other guy you have to really look at Mitchell McLean with Bowling Green, who has I believe, 28 points coming into this weekend. Mark McAllis with Minnesota State, the freshman, has 30 points through 28 games. Those are some of the forwards where I look at, and they're fun to watch. Those are the guys where if you're looking and what games you want to watch this night, those are the numbers where you say, hey, well, let's tune in and watch those guys. They can put the puck in the net. They can create offense, and you really want to notice and you really pay attention when they're on the ice.
Finally, Sean, we got 3 WCHA matchups this weekend, all of them intriguing in their own right. But is there anything particular that we should keep an eye on with these 3 games this weekend?
Well, when I look at we have the WCHA series this weekend, and also the final of the end of the North Star College Cup as well, which I think would also be interesting too, to see Bemidji State non-conference play there, because the WCHA definitely could use some help in non-conference play to have a team step up and play well and send a message there. But in those conference games, I look at some. I see a bunch of opportunities from teams in the lower half to kind of make a statement that they are going to be in that conversation as the season goes along. Ferris State plays Bowling Green, Alabama Huntsville at Michigan Tech, and Minnesota and Lake Superior State versus Minnesota State. I think the one I'm most interested in watching, frankly, is Alabama Huntsville, just with what they can. They host Michigan Tech, and they're a team that I think that they could be better than their position in the standings, and I really like what they've done over the past couple of years in kind of turning what was a really program that was really low in the college hockey world to they're starting to climb back into the pack. And I think I'd like to see what they can do against a team that, as I said earlier in our segment here, that a Michigan Tech team that is clearly one of the classes of the WCHA right now. I'm really interested to see how Alabama Huntsville handles them in the series in Alabama this weekend.
Thanks very much, Sean. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for you today. Sean Shapiro, columnist for USCHO.com. Appreciate you coming on today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Still to come, we'll take a look at all the games that are scheduled for the upcoming weekend, including the last North Star College Cup. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Inside the WCHA is brought to you by BLC Studios, a division of Bethany Lutheran College. For more information, visit blc.edu.
College hockey fans, you can now watch every game, every night from your own home. From Anchorage to Alabama, Big Rapids to Bowling Green, and all points in between. All your favorite teams live on WCHA TV. Affordable season, monthly, and game day passes are available. Sign up today and don't miss a thing. Join us at WCHA.TV.
Welcome back to Inside the WCHA. This weekend marks the start of the North Star College Cup. The North Star College Cup is an annual tournament hosted by the University of Minnesota and features each Minnesota D1 college hockey team, including Minnesota State and Bemidji State. This season, MSU is rotated out of the tournament, but Bemidji takes on St. Cloud State, and then either the winner or loser between the Gophers and Minnesota Duluth. There are 3 WCHA series taking place as well, all of them big matchups as the season winds down. Lake State travels to Mankato, Michigan Tech battles it out with Alabama Huntsville, and Bowling Green takes on the Bulldogs of Ferris State. Andrew, 3 WCHA games this weekend as well as the North Star Cup. What are your thoughts on this slate of games?
Well, I think the Mavericks playing Lake State this weekend should be a really good matchup, especially after the weekend Lake State had last weekend when they were able to get the sweep over Alabama Huntsville, and now they're in 5th place, and this turns out this could be a matchup for home place come playoffs.
And with that, thus concludes this edition of Inside the WCHA. We thank you for joining us. Keep up to date and watch all the games on WCHA.com this weekend. For Ryan Kassenschmidt, Andrew Jaukin, thank you very much and have a great weekend.